Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to our review of Annihilation with the boys Billy
Hey.
and Benny.
Hey.
Billy, thanks for being here in Connor's absence.
No worries.
We've got a really cool movie to review. 2018 science fiction horror film written directed by Alex Garland,
The boy.
director of Ex Machina and writer of many films, 28 Days Later, The Beach,
Dread,
Dread,
which he also directed apparently.
so Carl Urban
Thank you for your
says.
candor.
And based off a book of the same name by Jeff VanderMeer.
Yeah, the Southern Reach trilogy.
Yeah.
Very trippy stuff.
Let's take things back a step and what were you guys expecting going in? And let's talk about your overall impressions. And then there's a lot to discuss with this film. It's going to be tough to get into this without spoilers, I think.
So I'm not shy about the fact that I think Ex Machina is not only one of the greatest science fiction films ever made, but just one of the best films of the 21st century, full stop.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect watching Ex Machina, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
If Ex Machina was just the scene with him dancing, it would be the best movie ever made still.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it as well. Oscar Isaac, man. What a beast.
That's another thing I love about certain directors is that they'll use people they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
They have that working relationship.
Yes.
And it's not always to a detriment. A lot of the times it's to a good thing.
Oh, man, when you're on good terms with Oscar Isaac, you keep him around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the
So-
flavor of the month
And there's
at the moment.
50% less dancing in this movie.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So going into this, we'd heard a lot about how Alex Garland and his producer kind of refused to relinquish control over the final edit. The studio notes were from test screenings, people aren't going to get this. We need to change it. We need to make it a little more mainstream.
Too smart a film.
Too smart
Too
for
smart.
too smart for cinemas.
Too many farts.
Which eventually resulted in it being released globally on Netflix. Netflix snapped it up. It got a limited theatrical release in the States, which apparently is not paying off at all. So I guess the studio was right.
Paramount, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Second thing they've dumped to Netflix, including Cloverfield Paradox.
Which was also great. So going in, I'm like, yeah, this is a piece of work with full creative control, probably from someone who made one of my absolute favorite movies ever. Pretty excited.
And overall,
Hated it. Terrible. Just real 6 out of 10, you know. No, I really, really liked it. It's nothing's ever going to be on the same level as like Ex Machina for me. That's one of those ones that slaps you in the back of the head and then just, you know. But yeah, I really liked it. I really wanted to watch it again before we recorded this.
Yeah, same.
This is probably one I'm probably going to see. Which, for something that's not a superhero movie, I don't really do a lot.
Yeah.
Like within the first couple of weeks, watch
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah.
But when it's in the comfort of your own home, why not?
Yeah. What about you, Billy?
Look, I didn't know much about it. I knew about the books. My friend Azza
Azamakaza?
Macazza, he kept going on and on about the books and that I should read them and everything.
Okay, cool.
I never got a chance to read them, but I knew it was a good science, and that's something I've been trying to absorb into my brain. Like I love science fiction, but I've been trying to absorb more smart sci-fi.
Hard sci-fi.
Yeah, like the stuff that makes you think. And Ex Machina was one of them. Then that was a film, and just the whole thing that happened with Paramount makes me think that so many films have been dumbed down over the years
how
to
many
the studio.
classics have we lost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, these executives, presumably they've gotten into this business because they love film. How much do they hate themselves having to go in and be like, we can't keep
Yeah.
this movie as good as it is?
Yeah.
Must be hard,
Yeah.
but fuck
Yeah.
them.
But no, I loved Ex Machina, and I like a lot of other stuff that he's written for film or made notes on in particular films. And yeah, I was excited for it. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I was shitty though that I couldn't see it on the big screen.
Yeah, I agree.
If you are in this, I don't know if you have listeners in the States, but if you have
Yeah, we
listeners in
do.
the States, definitely go watch it
Yeah,
in the cinema.
100%.
Yeah, mostly just to support this film. Send the message that we want to see shit like this. I actually didn't have too much of a problem. I thought it was kind of well suited to the home view. I have a giant TV though. But
The sucky thing about it being on Netflix is that Netflix doesn't reveal its
figures, yeah.
figures
Yeah.
and viewer data.
Yeah. So I mean, they'd like to brag about stuff like Bright. It'd be interesting to see what they say about this one.
For me, very much on the same page as you guys. Loved Ex Machina, and Alex Garland seems like a very interesting guy.
Kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really see him working in the shadows.
Love Dread as well, and
Dread is one of my favorite films.
Never Let Me Go as well. I really like that. This guy's he has a very sophisticated sci-fi sensibility, which I really like. And after finishing Annihilation, I was just thought to myself, what a joy. What a joy. I know that sounds a bit strange for sort of grotesque horror elements in this film, but this film just captured my imagination. I'm still thinking about it now. I wanted to watch it again. I absolutely love this film. This is like one of the perfect films for me in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
It got me thinking. I love the visuals, the concepts, the themes. It really just got me. It's really hard to kind of know where to begin with this film and sort of delve into.
Let's skip forward 3 days and
something I found out that, like, because he's only directed 2 films, this and Ex Machina.
And Dread, supposedly.
Yeah. And he's written lots of films. He apparently wrote a script for Halo, as in the video game.
Oh, cool.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Maybe.
What did you? I guess if you talk about the main leads in this, it's got a very strong cast. I think particularly Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, they really stood out to me. Jennifer Jason Leigh's character is just this really muted, awkward character.
But it gets explained why. Like you get kind of delves into her character, and you're like, okay, she's interesting.
And it almost like her casting in this, she was cast in that Cronenberg film Existence from the 90s, and there was, I don't know, I got the parallel with the body horror going on here. There was some Cronenberg-y elements in there.
Very David Cronenberg.
I do like that about various like sci-fi films, like Alien stuff, the whole body horror thing.
And this did have an Alien vibe to it as well, I feel.
Yeah.
Especially some of the design elements later on in the film, very geegery.
Yeah. But I thought Natalie Portman as well, this film she did a really great job carrying the narrative, but it's not a personal story. I didn't feel.
No,
it was a conceptual piece.
Where do you fall on her in general? A lot of people don't seem to like her very much.
I really like her, man.
Yeah.
I really like her in film and like outside of film, her views and everything.
Yeah, I like her just kind of outlook and stuff. Not necessarily as a performer so much.
I think more now than when she was a bit younger.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, maybe as you get older, form a better view of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Just I mean, the only films that I didn't really enjoy her in were the Thor. But that's about
and in
it.
this one?
This one, I loved her in this. But it's like what you said though. It's not. It is sort of a personal film, but not. It's almost like. I mean, they've got a mission. They're part of their part of the plot is that they have to go in to the lighthouse
into the Shimmer,
into the Shimmer, and it just felt like she was like the lead of the crew. Like there's always a lead of the crew, but then there's always, I don't know, she was almost like the co-leader of the crew. And it wasn't a very personal, it was weird.
There's so much going on in this movie, so many lofty ideas beyond just here's some characters to follow. The character was the story itself, I feel.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of the film. It was last year and it like involved these Arrival.
Oh, yeah. 2016.
I got glimpses to Arrival because
Yes.
it was that whole, like, she was dreaming and remembering stuff from the past, and you didn't know if that was in the future or the past.
And
I
also,
mean, that
like, going
happened in
into an
Arrival.
alien space
Yeah.
and experiencing that. I got that kind of parallel there.
And that was another film I really enjoyed.
Just
Arrival.
the almost, like, Lovecraftian not understanding what's happening, not being able to comprehend.
Yeah.
Which this movie captured.
I sort of love and hate Lovecraftian. Like, I love to get creeped out by it, but I hate squids and shit like that.
Yeah, don't get into Lovecraft.
No.
You hate squids. But, like, this film, one of the major themes in this film is change and mutation. And it's a really interesting like the name Annihilation, annihilation of something and turning into something else. And what is beauty? What is natural?
Horror. The
What
blending of beauty and horror.
is nature truly evil?
The refracting and reflection
Of DNA.
of DNA and
There's just so many. I think everyone can bring their own take to this. There's so many ways to interpret this film. I love that.
and not everyone is wrong or not everyone is right. It's good.
Exactly. It's almost like a dream. I watched. I spent a long time watching a lot of reviews and interviews with Alex Garland specifically, and there was one of him at Google, and he talks. His process is very interesting, and the way he works is
I want
very
to know
very
what he
interesting.
smokes.
But he talked a lot about how the book felt like a dream, and reading a dream, and when he wrote the book, when he wrote the screenplay, he almost left the book on its own and let it sort of marinate in his mind, and it's sort of a dream of the dream, as it were.
Yeah, like okay, so I know a bit about the book, just because I wanted to get a premise of the book, and someone had kind of explained it to me as well. I know it is a little bit. I mean, there is elements of it, so I get that whole dream of a dream thing. But in the book, you don't even have first names of everyone.
Yeah.
You just have
You're all known by their
the biologist.
the biologist, the psychologist, and everything.
The surveyor.
Yeah.
And
Really
it's all from
quite
first
different.
person perspective.
Yeah, and it's quite different. Like, I mean, are we going to be talking spoilers?
Yeah, we'll get into spoilers in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, it ends differently in the book than it does in the film.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I knew it was a trilogy, so I was curious, like, how this film was going to end.
And he's
That's a really-
definitively said, I'm not doing a trilogy.
Yeah.
Like he's
And I feel like it was
definitively-
a
awesome.
good take on the entire series.
But I don't think he considered those the second at all. I think
No.
he just considered the first one.
From what I understand, he hadn't even read the
Second and
follow
third.
up books. when he
It's a
made
good
this.
take, though, this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another really interesting thing about that interview was his process. And Alex Garland, he was talking about how often a film is in a pyramid scheme with the director at the top and everyone below him. And he prefers more of a flat hierarchy. And his role as a director is sort of to curate a team and trust that team. And when we're setting up for a shot and the cinematographer is doing his thing, his role isn't, hey, this is the shot. It's, how do you want to do this? And trusting the talent of his team. And
That's
I think you
very
can really
cool.
see that in his work. It's very flawless. Like the production design is flawless because the production team are doing what they want to do and they're enthusiastic.
Feels like they're all on the same page.
They're
and
all on
kind
the
of
same page.
communicating.
And I've got to say one thing about the production design in this is it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
So beautiful.
For what is, I would say, an effects heavy movie compared to his last one at least. Yeah, it comes together very nicely.
And I think you made a great comparison, Benny, with Hannibal, the TV series.
Yeah.
The beautiful destruction, the horrific, just gorgeous horrificness of some of this film.
Yeah.
It's quite astounding, and a lot of these images are still very vivid in my mind.
Yeah, disturbing but alluring at the same time.
Yeah.
The, I guess, monster in the film is still in the back of my head.
Yeah. People
Yeah.
are really digging that stuff.
Yeah.
The creature design is very cool.
It even parts of it. You've played Zelda. Sorry, you've played Zelda.
Yeah.
There's a part in the film that just reminds me of something in Zelda as
Which
well.
bit?
We'll get onto that later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's so hard to. I think this review seems so ad hoc and just tangential because there's so many things to talk about with this film, and it's really hard to talk about it without getting into spoilers. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about in the non-spoiler component of this,
Watch it.
because I want to get into spoilers. I
Well,
think.
yeah, it's kind of hard to discuss or to say what you would say to someone who hasn't seen it. It's just like it's 10 out of 10 on every level, like in terms of filmmaking and stuff. So
I did
kinda hard to
read
discuss.
one sort of review which explains it, and it was kind of comical.
Yeah.
But this is like if Bjork directed a remake of The Abyss,
Yeah.
and
Brilliant.
it's kind of funny and brilliant.
100%.
Yeah.
And Bjork's newest album has that same iridescent rainbow look that the Shimmer has in this.
Yeah.
And I also want to talk about quickly the creature design in this.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. Same.
Absolutely loved it.
I mean, just all the designs overall. I mean, the scenery, the cinematography is amazing in this.
I mean, I don't really know much. I just want to get into spoilers, so I'm going to give my little wrap up and just say, I think for me, this is an absolute immediate classic. I can't wait to watch it again. It just perfectly hits my sensibilities of sophisticated sci-fi, not a closed narrative. You know, you can bring what your life experience to this film and take what you need to, and everyone's going to have a different take, and it sparks conversation. So, yeah, I'm just floored by this movie, and I can't wait to see what Alex Garland does next, because in my opinion, he's just the fucking man.
Nice.
Yeah, well said. This is really one of those joys. This is the one that reminds you why you love movies and why
100%.
you get out of bed in the morning or stay in bed and watch it.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much to dig into, so much to just like it just grabs you from the get go, and you're like, it's one of those movies you don't really want to end because it's just so interesting and intriguing, and I don't know if everyone's gonna love it, but you have to see it. Everyone's got to see this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, just watch the film. Like I watched it. I mean, obviously, I watched it at home. I watched it with the lights off, which was kind of like, I mean, I'd like to do that. It's sort of, I feel like I get absorbed into the movie
yes,
more.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, look, I felt like I was in there with them in the Shimmer.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
like you were just going on this journey that got stranger and stranger.